The air in the camp has become unbearable. It is heavy, damp, soaked in the smoke of hearths, the smell of manure, and the sweet stench of rotting blood. The epidemic is raging. Tor stands at the main gates of the enclosure. Behind him is half the tribe. In their hands are burning torches, and in their eyes is primal terror that has turned into rage. They cough, spitting phlegm onto the snow, but their hands hold the fire firmly. Tor is not a traitor. He is the immune response of the tribe's organism. He feels in his gut that R's walls, which were meant to protect, have become killers. People are dying here not from the cold, but from overcrowding. R stands between the crowd and his life's work. This pen, these huts, this is his civilization. This is stability. But he looks back and sees his wife Leah. She lies by the hearth, her skin gray, her breath wheezing. Quarantine does not work when panic is stronger than reason. R thought he was building paradise, but biologically he drove his people into a trap. Skeletal analyses of early settlements, such as Çatalhöyük, reveal a frightening fact. The first civilized humans were 10 centimeters shorter and had much worse teeth and bones than their wild hunter ancestors. A monotonous diet from stockpiles and living next to their own waste destroyed their immunity. What Tor feels is not just fear, it is a biological rebellion of the organism, demanding a return to a healthy wild life.
R looks at the enraged crowd and realizes he has lost. He tried to argue with the laws of nature, but nature found a microscopic loophole. He created the ideal conditions for disease with his own hands. Density. In the Paleolithic, people always lived in groups of 30 to 50. This was a natural barrier for viruses. If one person fell ill, the virus died with them, or with the small group, finding no new victims. R broke this barrier. By gathering 100 people and a herd of goats in one enclosed space, he created a biological reactor. What is killing them now is a zoonotic infection. Bacteria jumped from animals to humans. The walls protected the tribe from wolves, but locked them in the same cage with an invisible killer. R understands there is no cure. The only way to survive is to destroy the walls and break contact.
For the first time in his years of rule, R's shoulders slump under an invisible weight. He does not raise his spear in defense. He does not shout orders. He looks at Tor, massive, clad in the skin of a cave bear, breathing steam in the freezing cold. Tor is the chaos R has run from all his life. But right now, chaos is the only salvation. R takes a step aside and slowly, with effort, opens the heavy wooden bolt of the gate. The creak of wood sounds in the silence like a verdict. This is a gesture of total, unconditional capitulation. He chooses the people, not the system. He nods to Tor, looking him straight in the eye. This is not a chief's order. It is a silent plea for mercy for a dying tribe.
Tor does not need to be told twice.
He swings, and the first torch flies into the dry straw of the main barracks roof. The fire spreads instantly. The flames greedily devour the dry wood and hides, everything they spent long months building. The goat pen catches fire next. The animals, crazed by the heat and smoke, break the partitions and scatter into the snowy darkness of the forest. R doesn't even try to stop them. Meat reserves, tools, warm hides, everything is burning. The people watch the giant bonfire with grim, almost religious awe. Survival fact: fire disinfection. For them, this is magic expelling the evil spirits of disease. But objectively, it is the most effective and brutal disinfection. Temperatures of 800 degrees destroy not only bacteria and spores in the air, but also infected belongings, bedding, and waste. Fire sterilizes the space. R burns his past to the ground so that the tribe might have some kind of future.
At dawn, on the site of what R called a city, only a black, smoking stain remains on the blindingly white snow. The silence is deafening. There is no more hacking cough, no bleating of goats, no sound of axes. But there is no warmth either. The tribe stands in the piercing wind. In their hands they hold only what they manage to grab in panic: a few furs, spears, simple flint knives. No food reserves, no roof over their heads. R approaches the ashes. He slowly drops to his knees, takes a handful of still warm ash and rubs it over his face. This is an ancient sign of mourning. They cannot stay here. The place is cursed, dead, and devoid of resources. They must leave. But there is nowhere to go except back, into the forest, into the cold, into the total unknown. They walk away from the smoke, heading deep into the thicket of the forest. This is no longer a proud tribe of conquerors building a new world. These are refugees saving their lives. The sick, whom the fire did not finish off, walk in the center of the column, supported by the healthy. With every step away from the ruins, they lose not only their home, but their knowledge. Anthropologists call this the Tasmania Effect. When a society becomes too small, isolated, or loses resources, it begins to degrade technologically. People forget complex technologies because they have no time for teaching. All energy goes solely into finding food. R's tribe is right now forgetting how to build houses, how to make complex traps and weave nets. They are descending one step down the evolutionary ladder. Complexity is replaced by simplicity, because in the forest, simplicity is survival. A month of wandering passes. The tribe has changed beyond recognition. They no longer sleep in the same place for 2 nights in a row. They roam like a pack of wolves, following the migration of deer. The epidemic has receded. The frosty air, the lack of overcrowding, and constant movement killed the infection. Those who were too weak died and were left in snowdrifts along the way. The survivors have become wiry, mean, and incredibly cautious. Their way of life is primitive. Temporary huts made of branches, raw meat, feet battered to blood. But they are alive. In their eyes, there is no longer mystical fear of an invisible enemy, only eternal, gnawing hunger. Tor walks in front.
Now he is the leader. His brute strength, instincts, and ability to kill a beast with his bare hands are more necessary here than our strategic mind.
Sits by a small campfire on the very edge of the temporary camp. He no longer wears his famous wolf cloak. Now he wears simple, worn-out skins. His face is gaunt, his cheekbones tight against gray skin. Black shadows lie under his eyes. He no longer looks like a warrior ready to strike. He looks like a very old man, though he is not yet 30. Cold and chronic malnutrition have taken away his former power. Hands that drew plans for fortresses now tremble, trying to untie a knot on a frozen sinew. Tor approaches the fire. He looks silently at the former chief and throws him a piece of tough meat with a bone. Greedily grabs it. This is not a gift of respect. It is a handout to the weak. Pale anthropology, the value of the mind. Why does Tor, the new alpha male, feed the weak instead of banishing or killing him? The answer is provided by a find in Shanidar Cave. A skeleton of a Neanderthal was found there who had been disabled since childhood but lived to be 40 thanks to the tribe's care. Ancient people were absolute pragmatists. Tor feeds not out of kitty. He feeds him as a living map. R's muscles have weakened, but his head still holds priceless knowledge about animal migration paths, medicinal herbs, and the starry sky. The tribe preserves his memory for a rainy day. Gnaws in to the tough meat. He survived. The tribe is free, but gazing into the dying fire, he realizes he is no longer the creator of history. He is merely its witness.